Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video I'm going to be going over the 5 things that I hate about the Infiniti QX80, and this video should be titled Dislike, but you know what? We gotta go crazy. We gotta go crazy so we can get those YouTube views, right? Anyways, before we get into the video, I do want to mention that my car buying guide is available. Link to that in the description down below if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car. Let's get into the video. So the first thing has to deal with the seat bolsters for the QX80. Okay, so let's get into this. You guys know in the 5 things that I love video, I talked about how I love these seats because they're super comfortable, and that still stands true. However, the bolstering on the seats is extremely wide. And you know, I'm not the biggest person, but I'm also not the smallest person. I weigh about 190 pounds, roughly. And these seats just are like super loosey-goosey, especially the second row. I mean, look at this. Like, I mean, if you're like a super wide person, you're gonna love these seats. So there is a benefit to that. But I feel like for most normal people, these seats are a little bit too wide. But again, it seems like everyone's getting heavier and heavier as time goes on. So maybe Infiniti is just looking to the future and they're like, you know what? Everyone's going to need wider seats in the future. So yeah, thought I'd put that in as the first point because it's not a huge issue. But again, I wish the seats were a little bit tighter on the bolstering. I think would, you know, I think it makes sense. So the number 2 thing has to deal with the fact that the QX80 is outdated in a sense. So I need to go over as much as I possibly can with this particular point because there's a lot of things with the QX80 that aren't outdated, but a lot of people will call this and the Armada outdated for a number of reasons. So first off, from a lighting perspective, it's got a modern looking lighting system, and it's also, you know, modern in terms of how it functions and everything. And then, you know, it's got modern stuff like parking sensors. It's got a front camera as well. It's got the sensor for the adaptive cruise control. And speaking of that, we'll actually pop here inside so that we can go over this stuff. So it does have a bunch of modern tech, right? It has, like I said, adaptive cruise control. It's got lane keep assist as well. You guys can see it's got blind spot on top of that. So it's got all that, you know, stuff. And it's got like a modern infotainment system, right? It's a touchscreen infotainment system, and response time on the infotainment system is really solid. And it's got like a 360 camera system as well. But, you know, you guys will notice the resolution isn't necessarily the best, right? But it still has a 360 camera system, so that's a plus. You know, it's got dual zone climate, heated cooled seats, it's got a wireless phone charger. So it has a bunch of tech, but like if you look at how everything's kind of set up, it definitely does have more of like an old school appearance to it, including the gauge cluster itself. It doesn't look the most modern, right? It's not a full digital gauge cluster. And this is a large infotainment system, but only this portion is actually a touchscreen. This side over here is not a touchscreen at all. And so it's kind of like, it still has information on it, but it's quote unquote dead space, right? Because it's not a touchscreen. And just the overall setup, right? This does kind of look not as modern as what you see in other vehicles, like again, the Lincoln Navigator, Cadillac Escalade that compete against this. But for me personally, I don't really care, but I figured I'd still have to leave it in this video as a point because I know there's a lot of people that are kind of thinking about that when they're, you know, looking at purchasing this potentially. The number 3 thing has to pertain to the transmission. Okay, now we are officially on a mission. So, gotta pop the hood. And love this body line there in the center. I know I've mentioned that before, but definitely nice. Boom. So we have the naturally aspirated 5.6 liter V8, which is fine. It's paired to a 7-speed automatic. So unlike the new Nissan Titan, for example, it's paired to a 9-speed automatic, and it is a substantial difference between the 7-speed and the 9-speed. Now, I do want to say that this isn't a horrible transmission. It's actually really smooth. It's just not as quick shifting as the 9-speed, and it does search for gears a little bit more than the 9-speed. It seems like the 9-speed is just like super direct, and it knows exactly what it's doing, whereas this transmission, it's pretty good like 95% of the time, but that other 5%, it's kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing, right? So yeah, I do have to mention that. I wish that they just throw the 9-speed in this, so maybe when they do the big update for the QX80, which is apparently coming relatively soon, they'll throw the 9-speed on it. I think that would substantially improve the vehicle, but yeah, that's another point. Number 4 has to pertain to the sunroof. Okay, so this is a really silly point, so I'm just going to get over this pretty quick. We're inside, and you can see we have a sunroof, but it's a very small sunroof. And we don't have anything blocking it in the back. There's not like, and sorry about the camera being blurry, there's not TVs in the back or anything. Like this could totally have a panoramic sunroof, but it doesn't. And you know, Navigator, you can get a panoramic sunroof, for example. So yeah, since the competition can get a panoramic sunroof, I don't know why this can't get a panoramic sunroof as well. I mean, like, look, even if we look on the roof, I mean, there's this little crossbar, but that's not like officially blocking it. So like, I don't know. It should have a bigger sunroof. It's a big SUV, big sunroof, makes sense. Now, number 5 has to pertain to the price of the QX80. So before we get into the price, you guys got to remember, again, this is a full-size luxury SUV. They can do quite a bit, right? It can tow 8,500 pounds. It's got like over 1,300 pounds of payload. Looks great, you know, has a ton of technology and everything. And, well, got the window sticker here in the back seat. Look at that, it's even got TVs in the back. Look at this quilted design, pretty cool. But anyways, let's go over the window sticker here. So this is the standard equipment. So you only have this engine. Notice they don't show the transmission at all as part of the performance because they don't really want to advertise that they're still using the 7-speed automatic, hence why it was another point. But you guys can see pretty much everything's standard equipment, which I think is cool. That's why I put that in the 5 Things I Love video. Base price, $84,850. This has a couple options. There is your total price, $87,985. Now, compared to the Navigator and the Escalade, this is actually a bargain. Like if you wanted a Navigator Escalade that has, you know, TVs in the back and has this really nice like captain chair aesthetic here for the second row with this beautiful quilted design on the leather and on the door panels, and you know, as much safety tech as this QX80 has, you know, you guys can see all this stuff, right? Nice. You're probably going to be closer to like $100,000. So compared to the competition, this is technically a bargain, but, there's a big but. The Nissan Armada is significantly less expensive. You get an Armada Platinum, it's pretty similar to this. It's not exactly the same, right? It doesn't look as pretty on the interior or the exterior as the QX80. Like I said, I think this is a better looking vehicle than the Armada, but you're getting a lot of the same safety tech and luxury features and all that for like $15,000 less than this. And so that's the only thing that's going against the QX80, is that you have the sibling vehicle that is, again, it's a sibling vehicle, so it's pretty much the same thing. And they have a luxury package on that sibling vehicle that's pretty much the same thing as this QX80 Sensory package for $15,000 less. And so it, you know, it does kind of make things a little bit difficult. Again, there are definitely some benefits here to the QX80, but I do see that as being something that kind of goes against it. It's funny that the biggest competition to this vehicle is something that's made by the same manufacturer, technically. Now, to sum things up with this video, I think the QX80 overall is a great full-size luxury SUV, and I've had an absolute blast with it over the last week, but obviously no vehicle is perfect. And so there's a few things that I think that Infiniti should fix, and I guess we'll wait for the saw sound to go away. There are a few things that I think that Infiniti should fix with the QX80, but I don't really view any of these things as like massive deal breakers to where you shouldn't purchase the vehicle. I think that they're things that are a little bit upsetting and a little bit annoying, but it's not like, oh man, yep, no, it's a horrible vehicle, don't even touch it, don't even look at it. I think it's more like, more the case that I look at it and I go, okay, these are things that Infiniti could improve, and I'm guessing a lot of my complaints are going to be fixed with the next generation Armada and QX80. I'm guessing that they're going to have a bigger sunroof. It's going to have the 9-speed automatic transmission, and they're going to have a much more modern appearing interior and all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, that's that. Take it for what it is. If you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe, and I'll see all of you in the next video.